I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside Parker Kligerman, and Derek Perniciglio will be covering all the action for us down along trackside as we get ready to go racing on this tight little bull ring. Here's a look at where Columbus is located. The largest populated city in the state of Ohio is 142 miles from Cleveland, the second largest populated city in the state. Parker, as you take a look at the points, it's tight as we're halfway through.
Yeah, but they still need to make up a lot of ground here. Being 23 points back in second, that's almost a whole race.
They made some changes to the track here in Columbus. Derek has a story.
Welcome to the Columbus Motor Speedway. It is a small, tight little bull ring. They're going to be driving in circles here because that's the way the groove is shaped. Traditionally, everyone fights for the bottom. They're usually in this area of the racetrack down here. But if you look up here, there's all new fresh pavement in this outside groove. The track owners wanted to make this place more conducive to side-by-side racing. So they added the new pavement here. But if you look down here, it's a real rough-looking part of the track. It's like a cheese grater effect. It's going to chew up some tires. Up here, it's a lot smoother. You're going to get some grip up here. Don't be surprised if you see a couple of drivers test the waters and try using that outside groove tonight when everyone is going to be fighting for the bottom.
Well, Parker, would that tempt you? Would you go up there?
Absolutely, and in talking to some drivers, I heard that they definitely believe when the tires start to fall off, that outside line is really going to come in with that extra grip and that new pavement. A lot like we saw at Pocono, that Turn 3 pavement a couple years back.
Well, there's Kenzie Rusting going through driver introductions. And let's hear from the man who'll be starting on the pole tonight. That's Rico Abreu. Alongside his car is our Derek Perniciglio.
Guys, Rico Abreu starts on the pole tonight in the number 98 machine. A new track record for this driver, and here he comes right from driver introductions right now. Second pole in a row. Are you getting more used to these big, heavy stock cars?
Yeah, definitely. Qualifying's getting a lot better. We just got to get good on race runs, save your tires, protect the bottom on these line-sensitive tracks, and just got to gain experience and learn as you go. It's like I said in the last few interviews, it's all so new to me, so it's fun learning, and I'm really enjoying it.
Had the pole for Langley last time out, the pole here tonight. Is there anything that you learned from Langley that you can apply here to win tonight?
Yeah, I just need to let my car roll a little more, save through the corners, save your tires, and then cover that bottom. Just got to cover that bottom. So if we can just conserve through most of the race, I think we can have a good shot at the end.
Rico Abreu starts on the pole tonight.
50 miles, but it's going to take us 150 laps to get there around this third of a mile bull ring that was built back in 1946 for racing motorcycles. And tonight, it's NASCAR stock cars as we're ready to go green from Columbus. Oh, a tricky start from the row 2.
Yeah, that's Greg Quinlan there, and this is his first start in the K&N East Series with a new team in Rhett Racing.
Boy, that thing just spun the tires on him, and Abreu battling to grab the lead and to keep his fenders right now as they're leaning on each other hard as they got into the corners.
Yeah, it looked like Scott Heckert may have led that lap. That's him on the outside, really roughing each other up this early in the race.
How long do you... Oh, there he goes. Heckert now tucking down in behind Abreu. How long do you think it's going to take for that outer groove that Derek was talking about, Parker, to come in?
Well, it looked like Scott was able to use it effectively. We got Grant Quinlan here coming back from that horrible restart or start, spinning his tires around the outside of Scott Heckert, and maybe about to get in a second here using it all the way from back and forth. We got a caution.
Caution is out. Didn't take long, did it? First one of the night here. And it's for the 6 car, which has some heavy damage. Devin Amos out of New Mexico.
Yeah, a lot of left rear damage there. Thankfully, they don't fuel in this series. Otherwise, that would be a real issue coming trying to get it fueled up.
Let's see what happened to him here. Just backs it into the wall over in turn 3 and 4. Let's check in with Derek.
Problems with Devin Amos in the early stages of this race. He rolled off 14th when the green flag flew, but the Rev Racing crew going to work on the left rear quarter panel of that car. It looks like it's just cosmetic right now. When he spun, he backed that left rear corner into the wall, crunched up some of the sheet metal. The crew pulled it away, and now Devin Amos is off and away again.
Well, Rev Racing is pretty strong when it comes to competing here at Columbus in this series, winning 3 out of the 4 events that have been held here so far.
Very impressive record. We'll see if they can keep that up tonight.
Pace truck has the lights out, and Abreu ready to pace him back to the green.
Be interesting to see if Grant Quinlan there learned his lesson, is able to get a little bit more effective restart here, especially being on that outside in second place.
Back to green, and we're racing again at Columbus. Not quite as much pressure this time from the outside on Rico. Certainly not on the contact end of it, as Quinlan gives him a little bit more room.
Absolutely, but definitely a way better restart by Grant there on the outside. He's able to really hold tough. He's using that new groove of pavement really effectively, it looks like.
Rico's got to hustle up off the corner if he wants to hold on to that lead, because Quinlan is definitely finding some good traction on the outside here, Parker.
Yeah, it just looks like Quinlan's getting just a good enough run off the outside that he's able to kind of beat him to the middle of the straightaways. But from there, Rico kind of gains again on the inside. They might. Well, I'm really interested to see if Quinlan can get just one corner where he gets an absolutely great exit off the corner, is able to clear Rico and get down to the bottom.
You saw Ronnie Bassett lock himself into 7th in that red and white 04. That's David Garbo out of Connecticut in the Wheeling number 31. Running that outside groove, looking for a spot to tuck in.
He's on the outside of our second place in the points, Kyle Benjamin there. We'll be interested to see if Kyle stays smart here and maybe just lets him if they really start to force the issue. Because it looks like that outside line has some grip. It just doesn't quite have the grip to clear that inside line just yet. But we'll be interested to see when these tires start to fall off if that outside line gets as effective as it looks it can be.
Well, it looks like Austin Hill is going to give up the position to Heckert, so he'll move into 3rd, and they'll now go single file. Still side by side back here, fighting over 5th between Sargent and Gralla.
Yeah, it looks like Sargent's definitely got a little bit better car here than Gralla, just able to, ooh, caution's out.
Probably going to see a few of those here tonight on this 1/3 of a mile bull ring. This time it's for the number 2 that has spun himself into the infield, Colin Cabry. He's got it going, and the rookie gets himself up onto the racetrack.
Doesn't seem to have much damage, so I'll be interested to see if maybe this was just a little bit of a self spin.
Yeah, looks like down on the bottom, huh?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of help from the back, or just pinched it off being too wide there and in a pack of cars. Could have just gotten a little loose. No harm, no foul. Spun it in the grass, kept going.
Let's see what he's learned about restarts as we're back to green. Oh, and a car spinning to the infield, coming off of 4. But we keep racing.
No caution yet. It seems like they feel like that car can clean itself up pretty quick. And now we've got the caution.
There it is. Yep. So Abreu and Quinlan will have to do them once again. Oh, and it's the 12 car that's taken quite a beating. It's Gray Galding and the Krispy Kreme Donuts Toyota.
Yeah, that's a lot of front end damage. Not what you want to see here. Maybe from the grass or if he got in the back of someone there, but definitely not a good sign for the rest of the night.
Watch him in the middle of the pack here. Oh, he just ran into the back of the car in front of him.
Yeah, well, it looked like the 9 there of William Byron just really slowed up for some reason. I don't know if he missed a shift or just the car died on him. It didn't get going. Maybe there wasn't enough fuel there, but really slowed down.
Here's Derek from the pits.
Gray Galding with some right front sheet metal damage on the Krispy Kreme number 12 machine. The crew is going to work right now, ripping it away. Doesn't look like he's got any suspension damage. They're just trying to keep that sheet metal away from that right front Goodyear tire.
So he'll rejoin the pack. And Abreu on the outside this time.
And if he's on the lead lap there, it actually doesn't look, as we heard Derek say, he doesn't have any suspension damage. So I believe this could really be, not a bad time for him if he can really just get that car rolling again and move through the field.
This is going to be interesting to watch because every start or restart so far tonight, Rico's been on the inside. We haven't seen him run a lap on the outside.
Yeah, it looks like they gave the lead to Grant Quinlan there just as the caution came out.
Oh, Rico got a great start.
Really good start. We're seeing Grant struggle there just on these restarts again. He just doesn't seem to be able to get the power down on the inside and get the jump that he needs to keep the lead. There you see Rico go around the outside of him, take that lead from him.
Let's get the update on how Austin Hill's night is going. Here's Derek with more on the story of Austin.
Austin Hill is desperately trying to hold on to his third place spot in the point standings right now. He's been happy with the car all day, but they've been trying to turn their luck around. In the last couple of races, they fell off at Langley. They were spun out at Bowman Gray, and the handling went away in the car at Iowa. He ran third in this race last year until a flat tire took him out of contention. He's trying very hard to stay up in the front in the top 5, and he started 6th when this race went green. So keep an eye on that number 22. He could be a factor at race's end.
He's doing great. He's got that car nice and tight down on the bottom. He might lose a position here. He does, but still, Parker, I like the way the 22 looks on the bottom of the racetrack right now.
Absolutely, and interestingly enough, he's running there right with the guy who's right behind him in points, Scott Heckert, who's 4th in points. So these guys are really tight in the points battle and tight on the racetrack. But if he keeps his nose clean, keeps the car really good there on the bottom like he has, it's turning well, it's cutting through the center, I think he can have a really good night.
Heckert, the car in front of him, actually running a couple of feet higher off of that bottom line.
Yeah, and a little bit of that, just being that this place is almost a circle, you can almost just open the radius up a little bit, take some wheel out of the car, and allow the tires almost relax a little bit. You know, if you keep the car just that little bit straighter and not so much on the bottom, sometimes a car that turns really well, it just gives you a little bit straighter exit, saving that rear tire and saving that right front.
If you get dizzy easy, or if you have weak neck muscles, this is not the racetrack for you.
No, this is definitely the place you put a little bit extra padding in that right side headrest. Sometimes you even lean your head over for the whole time so that the padding pushes your head over, and that way your neck doesn't get tired, because you can't have a miss of concentration here when you're constantly in the corner and never really going straight.
You saw Jay Beasley in that group here. He's been having some pretty good runs. 4th at Bowman Gray, 5th at Langley.
We've got a caution now.
And the caution is out once again. This time it's for the 94 of Dylan Hoffman. And the 94 is rolling once again. We'll get a look to see how much damage, if any, the 94 has suffered. And so far tonight, it's been all about Abreu in the 98 and Quinlan in the 30, swapping the lead. But Park, we've had our fair share of yellows too.
Yeah, it seems like we've just had, through those restarts, they say caution breed cautions, and we've had that for sure. On these restarts, just cars really bunched up on this flat racetrack.
Rico has pretty much led the majority of the night. 49 of the 64 laps contested so far have seen the 98 out front. And, you know, he came up here and did some testing last week, and it's apparently paying off.
Definitely, but we'll see if Grant Quinlan there on the outside, where he's been most successful, gets a good restart. Hasn't quite cleared Rico there on the outside, as we saw Rico do in the last restart, but Grant Quinlan has really shown us that he can make that outside work better than any car here in this field.
Chevys and Fords in the first 4 spots here tonight. So far, the past races with the K&N Pro Series East here at Columbus have been won by Toyotas, as the contact gets a little bit heavier in the battle for the lead now.
Yeah, Rico just really rubbed up on Grant there. Grant almost came in a little bit tighter in the corner into 3, and Rico just used his right front and shoved him up the track, trying to force him out of that groove to be able to take that lead.
Almost got into that left rear and really got him loose.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, you know, you see here the 30 of Grant is just really trying to get a straight, just gets loose there on the inside, and that can happen, especially when you're pinching the car off with the car on the outside of you. And what Grant was doing was really forcing the 98 down. That's how he took the lead.
Well, let's find out how Ronnie Bassett's night's going. Here's Derek.
Well, when Ronnie Bassett Jr. and I spoke earlier today in the pit area, he was miserable. He was not happy with his race car at all. They said they were too tight during the daytime conditions. Crew Chief Jerry Babb went to work on that number 04 machine. They tried to dial it in right before the race. They must be pretty happy with it right now. He runs in the top 5. He currently sits 8th in the K&N Pro Series points with 1 top 5 and 2 top 10 finishes.
He'll be a little happier now that he's cleared Heckert and he can move down to that bottom groove.
Definitely, and they got really close there. Hecker's right front got really close to the left rear of Ronnie Bassett Jr. Looked like it could have been a little bit more of a issue than it was, but he got by and is moving on forward.
Gralla on the outside here of Nick Drake. Drake in the Napa 15 on the inside.
And then we've got our points leader there, 9 of William Byron. Needs to be patient here, be smart. These guys are racing really hard, and it's definitely interesting to see these guys being able to race side by side for so many consecutive laps like you're seeing right here of these 4.
Gotta like that patriotic racing theme on the 9 on this Independence Day here in Columbus.
Definitely a great paint scheme, but it looks like they're starting to settle things out here, and that 9 is able to get to the bottom where he's probably the safest right now. Needs to work his way methodically to the front.
As we mentioned earlier, Rev Racing has really dominated here at Columbus Motor Speedway in past years, winning 3 out of the last 4, beginning with Darrell Wallace Jr. in 2011 as he celebrated in victory lane. They missed out on 2012 but came back in 2013 with Daniel Suarez, who claimed the top honors that night. And then last year, Sergio Pena was heating the hides and leaving donuts as he won here at Columbus. Today, however, the highest running Rev Racing car is Jay Beasley, who's hanging on in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, he's having a good run. He's had a really good last few weeks. 8th at Iowa, 4th at Bowman Gray, and 5th at our last race at Langley. So he's really on a run here, and he's having a smart, good race. Right there, car's doing well on the bottom. I think he's one to watch tonight.
He's got Gralla and Haley running with him there. Gralla in the 3. Here we go, back up towards the front where you see Grant Quinlan, who's leading now, taking laps away from Rico, who led the majority of the first half of this race.
Yeah, it's really been about these two all night. Aside from Scott Heckert leading a lap there at the beginning, those two have really swapped the lead back and forth and been the class of the field.
We mentioned at the beginning of the show that William Byron in the 9, the points leader, 2-time winner on the Tour this year, really wanted to not give up points. We're at that halfway point now, Parker. He can't afford to start letting them slip away. Being buried back here inside the top 10, not going the way he was hoping for.
No, he can't, and really the thing here is that he has a lead right now that is so large, and if he just grows that a little bit each week, he can lock this thing up, being that he's at a point where 23 positions on the racetrack is the difference between him and second place. All he needs to do is, as we get a little bit of spin here on Kyle Benjamin, who's our second place in the points. Speaking of points, with Nick Drake, he just wrecked into him.
And our points leader got lucky because he was right behind them and able to slide by was William Byron.
Yeah, that was absolutely, as you said it, lucky. At the end of the day, he probably had his eyes forward, which smart race car drivers do, guys that are trying to protect their lead. Looks like he got a little bit of damage there, though. Maybe a little bit more than a little. He really has that hood pushed up.
The Eibach 27 of Benjamin trying to get going again. Here's a look at Drake's car.
Just a little bit of that. So you see there in the rear, I believe that's where we saw William Byron is going to get his damage from. So he gets in the back here, just the left rear of Kyle Benjamin, and then just decides to not ever release him.
Oh,
yeah. He really got in the back of him.
Yeah, he picked him right up off the ground, didn't he?
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of damage. The biggest thing there is if William Byron can still see over that hood. If he has to come in and knock that hood down, that's an issue. I've been in places, Martinsville specifically, where my team asked me, can you see over the hood? And if I could, they said, keep going.
Yeah. They didn't run the first stock car race here till 1950, and it was 7 years after that when they finally paved the place.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's see if our buddy here, Grant Quinlan, can get a good restart on the bottom for once.
Got a pretty good jump. Rico trying to fight his way around the outside, but here comes Austin Hill. Derek mentioned him earlier, and boy, he got a great jump.
Really good restart by Grant Quinlan. He's really learned his lesson. He's playing the game well. It only took about 4 or 5 tries. He's got it perfected now. Good restart by Austin Hill there to get the inside of Rico Abreu as well.
Almost to the 100-lap mark. We're going to have 50 to go. And that's going to be the question of who's got the best tires then.
Yeah, it's about conserving them, but it just seems without many cautions we've had, these guys, once they're able to cool down, you get the grip right back, really, in a lot of these tires, and therefore you're able to push it really hard for those first couple laps and not abuse the tires that badly.
Certainly a racetrack that's easy to overdrive the car as you watch Heckert and Gralla battling over 6th. That's a 34 in the 3.
It really is one of those racetracks. Anytime you have a racetrack that you're always turning, it's easy to overdrive the corners and roll too much speed.
Derek, these drivers can never get enough practice.
Well, the next race on the schedule is New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and some of these drivers are actually leaving here tonight to head up there this weekend because there's a past super late model race up there. David Garbo, Kaz Gralla, and Dalton Sargent have never raced at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway before. So what they're actually going to do is head up tonight to the past late model race, get some laps around the track to get acclimated to the racetrack so they have a little bit of experience going into the next race in New Hampshire.
Boy, Parker just keeps adding to the budget, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, at this level to be doing that. It just shows the competitiveness of this level and how seriously they're taking it. We hear about these guys testing at these tracks before every week and now running another race car at tracks they can't test at just to get experience trying to win this championship. It's very, very impressive for this series.
The level of commitment you have to make it in big league NASCAR stock car racing.
Absolutely, just as committed as these three right here are. The 3 of Kaz Gralla, the 51 of Dalton Sargent, and the 5 of J.J. Haley. They've really been on each other. Oh, the 5 gets into his teammate a little bit.
Yeah, you saw the Galt Chevy of Sargent get a little loose in the back of the 51.
Really, really aggressive there, between teammates, especially even as we went down the corner. It looked like Dalton really squeezed J.J. Haley back, trying to force him down the racetrack.
Bassett on the inside of the 0-4 here. Has to wait for Hill and Gralla to figure out what they're going to do before he can pick a lane there.
Well, it looks like Gralla's pretty committed to this outside line as he's made up a lot of places. We saw Austin Hill had a great restart, got all the way up to fighting for second, and now is just falling way back. You have to wonder if it's a little bit of not conserving those tires well enough.
He's trying to inch his way past Bassett now as he utilizes that inside lane. And I don't think it's going to work out.
No, I think Lonnie Bassett here has got the preferred groove at this time. It just looks like that outside line is really coming in as we thought it would once these tires wore out, and being 108 laps into this race, they might be getting a little bit slick.
Sargent's going to do the same thing. He shifted the 51 to the outside. And now he'll go to work on Hill.
And Ralph, this is where your spotter should be telling you, hey, you've now had 3 cars come up to your right rear quarter panel because they're running outside. This is where he describes to you exactly where they're running before they get there so that you can adjust your line and also get some of the speed that's in that outside line as the caution comes out.
Well, we're going to cool those tires down one more time, and it's our points leader.
That thing looks really tore up there in the rear, Ralph.
Byron is struggling. He's had a fantastic season up until now. And the 17-year-old dealing with a rough night on the short track here at Columbus. The halfway point of the 2015 season, round 7 of the scheduled 14. And here's a points leader, William Byron. He's been involved in a handful of incidents out on the racetrack. You can see the car tore up at the front and the back. And they're going to send him back out as the lights are off on the pace track. Quinlan leads Abreu back to the green. Could be one of the most important restarts of the night, and Abreu tries to use that outside line to his advantage.
Quinlan slid right up into his left rear quarter panel. Really tight racing between these two.
Here's a report on Byron's car from Derek.
William Byron had to come in really quick. The crew went to work just to pull some of that sheet metal away. They assessed some of the damage on the car. They had to get back out there so the 9 would not lose a lap to the rest of the field.
Wow, once Abreu got to the lead, Parker, he's up about a car length lead. We haven't seen that at all tonight. As a battle for second now is one between Quinlan and Bassett, and they're leaning on each other.
Yeah, it just seems like whoever's able to get that first jump between Quinlan and Abreu there, each time on one of these restarts is the one who takes the lead and drives away with it. So we'll be interested to see here if we get a long green flag run, if that 30 can reel in that 98 again.
Looks like Grawl's number 3 is coming to life as well. He's back here in 4th, and he's trying to go even higher than everybody else and at least follow Bassett through, see if he can move himself to 3rd. Quinlan's dropping.
Yeah, he's definitely falling back here. Maybe just a little bit flustered from the restart. Needs to get his composure back, get back in the rhythm. He knows he has a fast race car, and not much has changed from the last time he was leading this race only a couple laps ago.
Well, he is a 16-year-old high school student, just a junior. It's a lot to master, isn't it?
Well, I would say that this has been a very, very impressive debut for himself, that race team, everyone involved in that operation. To come out here at first start, be leading as many laps they have, and be fighting for the win right off the bat. From that misstep restart at the beginning to all the way to being leading this race, the majority of it's been very impressive.
Let's see if he can gather it back up as he starts to move back to the inside here. He's not going to give in too quickly to Bassett.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is where, maybe you just get a bit flustered, you start overdriving a little bit, and suddenly you get back in your rhythm. You start to get back in the groove of things, and now he's getting back in what made that race car so fast, not overdriving, and he's reeled Bassett back in, and maybe if he can get by, he can start to reel that 98 back in.
Meanwhile, Rico Abreu is closing in on lap traffic.
Yeah, that can be the X factor here, as he does have a major lead. How he negotiates that lap traffic will be really important. But once again, as we talked about earlier, the spotter helping you figure out where to be on the racetrack line-wise. They've got to help you see that traffic up ahead, especially when you're as far a lead as him. Be watching ahead and telling you what's approaching so you can plan accordingly as you get to that lap traffic.
Here's a look at Hill running in 7th, chasing Beasley and trying to keep the 34 back behind him here.
I actually saw a little bit earlier the 34 got moved out of the groove on the bottom by Beasley, so I have to think that 34 is trying to track him down and maybe pull the same move on the 42.
Of course, the 34 is Heckert as we watch Amos and Dylan Bassett fighting here.
Yeah, Amos has fought back from an earlier spin in the race to, find himself fighting just inside the top 10, and that's a good run for them. They need to continue that march forward to have a good night for Rev Racing once again here at Columbus Speedway.
Look at the gap Rico has.
That is a major gap. Wow, I mean that's the largest lead we have seen all night by far. He really, with only a little bit of racing left to go, it's at a short track like this. It's tough to lose, but as we said before, he needs to be planning for that lap traffic, having that big of a lead, and not lay back and not let the lap traffic hold him up in any way.
I tell you, it was a straightaway lead here at Columbus, but there isn't one. But we are into the final 20 laps.
Exactly. I don't know if you could call it a straightaway. Maybe it's a portion of the racetrack lead is a better way to put it.
That graphic right there is, I think, one of the biggest advantages that Rico has here tonight. He has won quite a few major open wheel events, including the Chili Bowl Nationals earlier this January. But from sprint cars to midgets, he's won it all. This is a driver who's been tested in high-pressure situations, and Parker, he's proven he can pull it off.
And this is literally maybe only his 7th stock car race. And he is really, from the start of the season when he felt like maybe he was just having to learn these big, heavy stock cars, he looked a little bit lost at times. He started to find progression and move forward, and to the point where he's winning poles and now leading a lot of laps.
Oh, wow, look at the battle back here. 3 wide at Columbus.
Yeah, that 34 in the middle of Scott Heckert really is in a bad position there, especially being shoved from both sides. I have to think with how he's been falling back, he might have a little bit of a problem. He's really dropped back from the top 5 he was just a little bit ago at the restart.
And Nick Drake in the middle of it, and that Napa machine, the Bill McAnally car. Those McAnally machines always so strong. Here comes Heckert and the 34, and we already saw the problems that Gaulding has had tonight in his Krispy Kreme car.
Yeah, you've got a couple cars there that have had problems. Nick Drake there in the 15. Greg Gaulding have both been involved in incidents tonight. And that's why I have to think this 34 is really, something's wrong with the way he's dropping back. He just doesn't even have the speed really to keep up.
Here's your race leader. The family business is a vineyard out in St. Helena, California. Tonight it's racing. Grant Quinlan's an impressive driver in that number 30.
Grant Quinlan in that number 30 machine is making his debut tonight here in Columbus. He's
Great point, Derek. And it looks like this number 30 here of Grant Quinlan has gotten his composure back, gotten back in the groove, and is showing a lot of maturity, reeling that number 98 of Rico Abreu back in.
And he's got 10 laps to do it, and traffic in front of Rico. This could be quite a battle. In fact, they're 3 wide in front of these guys.
This is absolutely what you don't want to see in Rico Abreu's position, is these guys 3 wide or even 2 wide. Right now that they're single file, he can navigate through them quickly as long as their spotters are telling them that he's coming. The blue flag is coming out. He's got some good, respectful drivers there high up in the points. That's good. He wants to see those guys. Those are the guys he knows he's raced around, he can trust, and make the best decisions to not lose any time.
Well, Rico got past to 34 of Heckert. Now Quinlan does so. 2 more cars in front of Rico.
Yeah, he's got the points there of William Byron as who just got by David Garbo Jr. And I think these are cars, as I said before, he knows and he's raced around. So these are easy ones. It's the ones that you don't race around that worry you, that you don't know. And these are guys he should be able to get through without too much of a problem.
The only problem is if he gets stuck on the inside or the bottom and the opposite lane suddenly opens up.
That is an issue. That's what he needs to be navigating, as well as I said before, his spotter. His spotter needs to be telling him where these guys are going, where they're running predominantly before he gets there, so that he knows exactly what to expect and makes the best decision, not lose time.
Rico has cleared some of the traffic. Points leader in front of him now. Quinlan is through. Rico's even built an outlaw sprint kart track in his backyard. And he spends lots of days running laps in those high horsepowered machines on an even tighter dirt track than this.
Well, that's good experience for this, especially when you can get as much time in any sort of race car, let alone on tracks that are tiny, tight, exactly as we hear at Columbus Motor Speedway.
Just 4 to go as we watch a battle for 5th between Beasley and Sargent. 3 now remaining.
Looks like Rico's really not catching on these guys too quickly in front of him. That of the 9 of William Byron. I think, he's gaining slightly, but not as quickly as he caught those other lappers. With 2 laps to go, this is a pretty precarious position with that 30 car of Grant Quinlan really closing in.
Coming to the white flag. Can Rico Abreu get his first win in the K&M Pro Series? White flag is out. 1 to go here around the 3rd mile at Columbus. Traffic, and Quinlan is on his bumper. Which way will they go? Rico trying to protect the bottom. Quinlan trying to force the issue. Comes up the inside. Here they come to the line, and Abreu gets his first career K&M Pro Series East victory.
Great effort by the 30 of Quinlan there to just get on the inside and just nudge him, not spin him out, but try the bump and run at the last position. But Rico Abreu had a great drive off the corner, stuck the throttle down, didn't care where he was going to end up, but he got across the line first.
Here's another look at it. You can see Quinlan came right up the inside. And that's where that dirt tracking experience paid off. All those laps in the backyard on that outlaw mini kart. And he slid that 98 right to the finish line. Look, he was completely sideways, wheel cocked as he came across the line.
Awesome finish.
Well, the celebration is beginning in victory lane, and it should be a big party tonight as Rico grabs his first win on the K&M Pro Series. Not his first big win, though. This was back in January in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Chili Bowl Nationals. And he drove the 97 to one of the most prestigious open-wheel victories in the country. In front of a packed crowd in Tulsa, driving for Keith Coons Motorsports on that night. Here we are in Columbus, and the celebration getting ready to get underway as Rico crawls out of the car. Whose arms is he jumping into tonight? There we go. This crew gonna celebrate too. It's a big step in this young man's racing career, as now he's got a major league stock car victory tonight for H. Scott Motorsports. Well, the helmet comes off. Derek's on his way down there to victory lane. Let's hear from Rico. Here's Derek.
Well, Rico Abreu has won in sprint cars. He's won in the world of outlaws. And now he adds NASCAR winner to his resume. Can you describe this moment?
That's awesome. Just got to cherish these moments because they never happen. It's so cool to what these guys have established for me to do what I love, and I'm just really enjoying it. I got to thank Harry Scott and Justin Marks, Hacky Dog, GoPros. They all do so much for me just to be out here having fun with everybody.
How tense was that last lap? Grant Quinlan was coming, and it looks like he nudged you as he came off the final corner.
Yeah, I just got put in a really bad spot with that lap car on the bottom. I wasn't sure if he was going to try to go around the outside of me, so he raced me really clean the whole race and just came down to restarts at the end.
Rico Abreu is a first-time winner in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series.
Well, Parker, I guess we've answered the question as to whether or not Rico is going to get his arms around stock car racing.
Absolutely. You know, getting a pole, another pole, and now a win, the confidence keeps building.
And you got to like what you saw to Grant Quinlan as well, who finished second tonight.
Really impressive run out of him for that, himself and that team at only 16 years of age.
Jay Beasley fought through the night, ended up fourth.
Back here, we've got William Byron, Scott Hecker, and Kyle Benjamin all up at the top 4 in points, having not the night they need to have.
Let's go back to here from second place. Let's check in with Derek.
Well, Grant Quinlan started third, comes home in second tonight, almost got the win in his debut race, but where did you come from? It just caught Rico Abreu with those last few laps.
Oh, them lap cars really helped us for sure. I mean, everybody at this team here that puts an effort in, I really appreciate it, and it's awesome. Can't believe it.
How do you think this will set the tone for your future NASCAR K&N Pro Series starts?
I don't know. I mean, there's lots to come. Let's see what's on down the road. I mean, hopefully good things come.
Well, he's a winner in super late model competition, and Grant Quinlan is proving quickly that he can win in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series. He comes home second tonight.
Should be happy with that performance. Certainly showed he's going to be somebody to deal with. And the points are shaking up a little bit too. Austin Hill did what he had to. Parker picked up 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do is at least pick something up, but not a good night for Kyle Benjamin or Scott Hecker, who really did not take advantage.
Derek?
Well, Kaz Gralla starts fourth, finishes third tonight. We talked about the outside groove at the top of the show. It looks like you were making it work for you. How did you like running the top line?
Oh, man, it was a blast. We dropped back a little bit, I think, to about 10th at one point, just saving our tires. But on a late restart, we were restarting 8th. Crew chief said, go for it, give me all you got. And from there, I drove from 8th all the way up to 3rd in about 10 laps around the outside. So that was a blast. Can't thank Ben Kennedy Racing enough. They gave me a really, really fast number 3 Key Close Camry. So hopefully we can take this momentum into the rest of the season and into a super late model race I got tomorrow.
You're getting closer and closer, knocking on the door of victory lane. When's that first win coming?
Hopefully next race. That's what I'm going to be going for. Let's let this momentum carry me into victory lane at some point soon.
Well, right after this, he's got to hop on a plane and head up to New Hampshire to run a super late model race up there.
Yeah, he'll be getting practice in for the K&N Pro Series East event at Loudon later this summer. Rico's celebrating in victory lane. And our next event's going to be coming your way with the K&N Pro Series West. The Napa Auto Parts Toyota 150 comes from State Line Speedway, Post Falls, Idaho, Thursday, July 16th. You'll see it here on NBCSN at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, Parker, I'd say Columbus delivered the fireworks as promised.
Really great race, lots of action, and a really amazing finish to top it off.
For Derek Perniciglio and Parker Kligerman, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long for now from Columbus Motor Speedway. And congratulations to first-time K&N Pro Series East winner, Rico Abreu. You got yourself a NASCAR victory.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.